This is Wednesday of Holy Week, and it's always good to stop midway through and take a look at Judas, because Judas is a character who we've basically turned into a cartoon villain, but we haven't really taken a lot of time to look at who he is. He has a story. He has a point of view, a focus that needs to be paid attention to. And the Gospel of Matthew does the most with the story of Judas. So we really understand that this is a man struggling. This is not just simply a bad guy. And as much as Jesus Christ Superstar kind of annoys me for how they represent Mary Magdalene, they do a really good job of representing Judas, someone who is struggling with what he thinks is right. So we have Judas going to the temple leadership. He's watched these last few days where Jesus has come in on a horse, taking the praise, which is not it doesn't track for Judas, that this should be something that Jesus just absorbs. And then he sees him angry in the temple. And then he sees him ticking off the temple authorities. And Judas is looking at that thinking, this is going in a really bad direction. And the thing is, Judas is right. He's right to acknowledge that things are going to be bad. And out of love for Jesus, and I do believe it is love for Jesus and what the message is, he goes to the temple authority. Judas was expecting something different than what Jesus was doing. He wasn't necessarily expecting the military campaign. He might have been. We don't really know. But whatever Jesus was doing, Judas thought it was just too far. It was too far off the mark. It was causing more trouble than it was worth. He understood that the temple leadership wanted to remove Jesus. That was very, very evident right from the start. And then he went to them and said, okay, I will help you put him someplace safe till after Passover when the Romans have left, and then we can get on with things. That's all Judas wanted to do, was get Jesus out of the equation. Because if he was upsetting the temple leadership, who knows what he was going to do to the political leadership of the day. And the Romans did not play nice. They crucified people. They sold people into slavery. They beat them to an inch of their lives. They were not nice people. And Judas knew this. We look at Judas through the lens of betrayal, but we don't look at the human being before any of that happened and really see someone who struggled, who loved someone so much he wanted to get him out of the way. We have reduced that to just kind of cartoon villainy, but that's not what was going on for Judas. And Judas, as we will learn, will find out the very hard way that what he did actually contributed to the end that he feared. When Judas finally finds out that his betrayal of Jesus was not just a put him away for a while so he can't cause trouble, but an actual concerted effort to remove him forever, Judas went back to the temple leadership and said, this is not our deal. This is not what I signed up for. He threw the coins back at them. And the temple leadership was, that's your problem. It's not ours. Because they were content with Jesus being removed. And they were very content with Rome being the one to actually do it. Judas was heartbroken. This is not what he was trying to do. And it totally backfired. We hear the last of Judas in the story that he went out to a tree and committed suicide. He could not live with what he had ended up being part of. That's not where he started, but that's where the story went. Too often you're going to hear theologians, historians maybe, thinkers that say Jesus was all part of God's plan. Judas, rather, was all part of God's plan. That's a horrible thing to assign to anybody. This assumption that darkness was so predetermined that everybody had a role to play and there was no agency. I want to give agency back to Judas. Yeah, it turned out bad, but he truly did not start out in a place that he wanted destruction. He just wanted someone he admired to be put on ice for a while so that he would not cause the problems that Judas foresaw. And out of all of the apostles, he's the only one that saw it, or at least the only one that took action about it. So it was not unknown that Jesus was targeted already. We don't have the rest of Holy Week going downhill fast without it already being part of the minds of those around Jesus and those who are already in the temple authority. This is the turning point. Now that we're on Wednesday with Judas's betrayal, it goes downhill from here. This is Wednesday of Holy Week.